What's up, on-chain gaming family? Welcome back for another video. Today we're talking about Mirandus. It's been a minute since we discussed Mirandus. This one is an unsponsored Gala video. I'm making this just because I care about Mirandus and I want to share some of my actual opinions about what we've been learning in the last few fireside chats. So starting off, number one, this is a really big deal, and that's that we have a super exciting playtest coming for Mirandus. I believe this is the fourth playtest. I might be wrong about that. And this one is going to be much bigger than all of the playtests before this. In fact, like an order of magnitude larger. We're talking multiple zones, an actual quest, a boss to defeat, and essentially this is like the first playtest that's going to be a real game. Inventory is going to be enabled. Some of the creatures are already going to be talking in a different language, which is a real language that they are developing for Mirandus. I just expect this playtest to blow a lot of people away who've been crapping on Mirandus, and I cannot wait for this playtest in Q1. The second thing that we need to discuss is that Mirandus is actually doing a new NFT sale. They're releasing the set of 1,000 or less than 1,000 unkillable horses, and essentially the lore is that these are horses that are found inside the world of Mirandus. Most horses in the game are going to like actually die when they die, so that there's not insane horse inflation, because if you own a stable like I do and you're planning on breeding horses, well, the only way for horses to maintain value is if there's not eventually a trillion horses for 1,000 players, because they never die and people are just breeding more, kind of the whole Axie problem that we had. So it's really important that horses die. But this whole idea of selling the first horses to players directly, I feel like it's a little bit of a slippery slope, because if you guys have not been tracking Mirandus during this whole development phase like I have, well, then you might not know that one thing that Gala promised us is that they're not going to be selling stuff like weapons or horses directly to players, because they sold essentially the production capacity, the production buildings for these things to players, and they want it to be a player run economy. So it makes sense that like if you're out in the world and you discover a wild horse, maybe you can tame it. Like that would make sense as the first horses, but selling horses directly to players makes me a little bit scared that maybe we're gonna have like 1,000 weapons sold and they're just gonna be the coolest weapons in the game, and the weapons that I can forge at my Majestic Forge, well, they're never gonna be as cool as the ones that Gala sold us, which would be really sad. And I'm a little worried. It's very similar to when they said there's a limited number of deeds in the world and there's never gonna be more. And then they released docks saying, well, they're not land deeds, they're kind of water deeds. Okay, sure, that's fine. I don't have anything specifically against docks existing. Like they kind of need to exist, I guess. But I kind of wish they were built as buildings that maybe attach to a deed instead of being a deed themselves with their own building slots. Essentially the rarity that we thought we had, we don't have. I'm just very worried about not the specific moves being made, but the slippery slope potential of these moves and what they represent for the future. Because I know that Eric Schurmeyer cares a ton about revenue, and that makes sense. If he doesn't make revenue, then he can't keep building awesome games, he can't fund games, he can't hire employees, so you need revenue in order to run a company. The third and final thing that I wanted to talk about today is that the economy seems to be coming along quite nicely. McCarthy seems to be making the correct decisions about things like horse inflation, so I'm very happy about that. But there still is one really big thing that I'm uncertain about, and that's whether or not swords are going to get destroyed, or whether we're going to run into the same exact horse inflation problem that they fixed by letting all horses except for the ones that they sold to us die, and that's the weapon inflation thing. Could the same thing happen there, where you have players that are going to be minting new swords every single day? If swords aren't also dying or breaking every single day, does that mean eventually we just have way more swords than players, and swords eventually lose all their value? So this is something that they're gonna have to look at. They're gonna have to think about this really hard and try to come up with a solution. I know currently they've been talking about how swords will lose some of their sharpness and stuff, and you'll have to bring it back to a forge to get it repaired. So that is nice, because that will mean that forge owners will always have some amount of work that they can do, but it still doesn't deal with the core weapon inflation problem that we might run into if weapons are never being destroyed and only being minted. I am still overall super bullish for Mirandus. I think this is the most exciting game I have ever been looking forward to in my entire life. Because I'm so excited for it, because it has so much potential, I care so deeply, and because I'm very invested in it. Let's be completely honest. Probably over $100,000 invested in NFTs in this game. So I care a lot about its quality. I care a lot about its sustainability. I care a lot about the small decisions that are going into the formation of this project. And I just really want this thing to be a massive success. I have a lot of faith in McCarthy. Thanks for watching this video, everyone. If you enjoyed it, remember to drop a big thumbs up, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I am very excited. Hopefully the next Mirandus content I release will be some actual gameplay, and we'll be able to see the insane progress that Mirandus has been making. They've been hiring new top-tier developers. They just keep bringing on more blockbuster AAA developers, it seems like, every single month. I'm so excited for the team that McCarthy's building and the game that McCarthy's building. So until next time, everyone, have fun roaming the metaverse.